Welcome to War Cry Podcast. We are four Native Indigenous women at the Yakama Reservation in Central Washington State. We have some bonus content and epilogue notes for you today.
Hi, so the last episode we had actually talked about Atwai Vanessa Guillen and that her body was found outside of Fort Hood, Texas. And I actually wanted to update about that. When we had aired it at the time, it wasn't confirmed that it was her. Unfortunately, as of July 6th, it was confirmed that it was her body. She was missing for 2 months before her body was discovered by the Leon River by a search team, and it was confirmed by DNA earlier this week. And so one thing that we wanted to bring out about that is that locally, they're going to be having an event in Pasco. Well, locally for us, it's about an hour away to the Tri-Cities, but July 11th at noon at the Pasco Albertsons, 1330 North Ave. And it's just going to be like a gathering for justice. So those who had confessed and had been associated with her murder, Aaron Robinson and his girlfriend, Cicely Aguilar, have, unfortunately, Aaron had committed suicide before anything legally could have taken place. His girlfriend, Aguilar, is in custody. One of the things we wanted to bring out about this particular case is that her family is demanding an investigation by non-military, but that they're advocates, and that's something that we also see in our Native communities, is that families are big advocates when it comes to someone missing or some kind of injustice. So that's something we could always relate to on that end, especially being from tribal communities. And just on a personal note, you know, whenever we hear something about this, my mother lives in the house. She listens to a lot of the stuff that I listen to, and she just kept saying that, you know, the poor girl and her family. So that's something that's always in our thoughts, is that our prayers and thoughts are with her family as they go through this. One of the things that also came about this is that we know that Native people have the highest rate per capita in joining the armed services. And, you know, this isn't going to be an issue that's just about the Latino, the Latinx and Latina community. I'm sure that it'll probably come up with Native American women and men in the military. Or we would like to know if there's anything, you have any thoughts about this or what it brings up to you. As Native communities, we have a very high respect and honor for those who we call warriors, for those who are veterans, for those who are serving. It's definitely a hard thing to talk about because, like, the League of the United Latin American Citizens, LULAC, they're actually calling for women not to enlist in the Army. So that's something that I know may hit people in different areas. We just want to know your opinion on your thoughts, what you think about this issue. This is something we've been following pretty closely. One of the other things that have come up is that as a team, we want to respect those who have gone on. So sometimes you'll be hearing us refer to them as Atwai. So when we talk about Atwai Vanessa Guillen, we'll say Atwai, and we would actually like to have our elder that we have here, Patsy, kind of explain what Atwai is and why we use it.
So throughout our language, you know, that we have with the Yakama Nation, or all tribes in the United States have a special endearing term that they use. And in this case, Robin has used the term Atwai. And when I think about that, it automatically makes me think about our ancestors, our loved ones. And so when we talk about, the story that we're talking about today, or any other individual who may have gone, who may be murdered or may have gone missing for numerous years, this is a term that we'll be using out of respect, for the individual, but also out of respect for the family. And it's one, and just on this topic, we also want to be in a prayerful way of thinking as well. because it does hit home for many of us here, in our homelands here in the Northwest. While we are here on the Yakama Reservation, we are also a part of the broader region because our relationship is throughout the Northwest, particularly amongst our, plateau tribes of the Warm Springs, the Umatilla, the Yakama, the Nez Perce. And so we share common history, common language, common familial relationships that we have with family as well. And so we want to we're mindful of this every time we come up with this topic in all of our relationships that we have. For instance, today I'm here near the Columbia River, and when I'm, near the river here, it just, makes me think about all of this and all of our shared history, our shared language that we have with one another, and our shared ways of greeting one another. And so similarly, in using this term, it's out of respect, again, for the families that are, who've gone through difficult times, and in this topic is also going through difficult times as well. For instance, myself, it has taken me a long time to even be able to talk about, the loss of my sister, who is still missing today. And so I want to just be respectful of the work that our young ladies are doing here and teaching me along the way as well. And so just want to be thankful to Robin and our young ladies for this important work that they're doing without.
Thank you so much, Patsy. It's really important to hear about, ongoing cases and updates. Of course, explaining out what some of the terms are that we use. We hear this term in some of our language all the time. Like sometimes I don't even know which age I was when I found out that some of the words weren't English words. And we probably all have that. So, we're really trying to explain some of these things out for you as those questions come in. And we also have other updates that are happening nationally. How does this national case connect to true crime, and what we have to talk with you about? What does it mean for Oklahoma? And Lucy's going to just give a really brief highlight of a landmark Supreme Court decision.
So published today, which is July 9th, the U.S. Supreme Court deems half of Oklahoma as a Native American reservation, according to Reuters.com. When I came across this headline, I was really surprised by the Supreme Court decision. So I'm just going to read a quick excerpt from their article here. So the U.S. Supreme Court on Thursday recognized about half of Oklahoma as Native American reservation land and overturned a tribe's member rape conviction because the location where the crime was committed should have been considered outside the reach of state criminal law. So, of course, the justices ruled 5-4 in favor of a man named Jimmy McGirt and agreed that the site of the rape should have been recognized as a part of a reservation based on the historical claim of the Muskogee Creek Nation beyond the jurisdiction of state authorities. So what this means is that for the first time, much of eastern Oklahoma is legally considered reservation land. So more than 1.8 million people live in the land at issue, including roughly 400,000 in Tulsa, Oklahoma's second largest city. So this is something that's completely from Reuters. I definitely am going to keep an eye out on this to see what happens in the state of Oklahoma and what is going to be happening, what that means for the Oklahoma tribes that it impacts. So I just wanted to bring that up today as an update for July 9th. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And of course, knowing that, these crimes that the Supreme Court are connected to actual cases, and that these cases are now going to have to be retried. The victims and the families of those victims are going to have to go through an additional process. We're thinking of those families and friends of those individuals. This isn't an easy thing to always think about in terms of a victory, because the state went there. The state of Oklahoma went there. They went to wanted to confirm their rights so bad that they were willing to say that no reservation land exists in Oklahoma. So that's why it reached this level and has been brought out to this way. And so I can when I first saw the article, of course, I teach this content from a policy and everything else. Yeah, a lot of things come up with that because, you know, you're reaffirming, you're saying, of course, there's this agreement with Congress. And on the other side, I think, what are these families going through? And how would I feel if my family member was hurt and then I saw that person's name next to it with victory next to it and celebration? You know, there's multiple sides to this and multiple truths for this as a Native people. And I think we just have to keep that in mind as we're celebrating this actual landmark case regarding land, and also knowing that there's still a process to continue on. So thank you so much for joining us today for this epilogue and bonus content. You can follow us on our different platforms. Anchor has all of them listed out. If you like and share, we really appreciate it. And again, like Robin had mentioned, if you have a story or something to share and an experience with us, please reach out to us. Our email is available on the different channels. And again, I'm Emily Washings. We have co-hosts Robin Peebushy, Patsy Whitefoot, and Lucy Smartlowit. Thank you very much, Chef Patchoy.